So what have we been talking about? Well, it has to do with our boys, the Lords of Dread. And add-ons, right? So we've been linking a lot of add-ons every time we do this, boss. And Blizzard is addressing that. So what's up, Lawrence? Blizzard released a blue post yesterday on computational add-ons and accessibility of raid mechanics. Specifically addressing, things like Spark bots for Mekkatorque and other Shadowlands fights like Hylbrande and our favorites, the Lords of Dread. Yeah, the very own. Slappy Hands indeed. Slappy Hands is great. So Blizzard's talking about, computational add-ons, and we're talking about add-ons because a lot in the stream because they are necessary for the Lords of Dread. You cannot do the fight without add-ons, honestly. So what did Blizzard have to say about it? Well, they said greetings, first of all. Very nice of them to say that. First up, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to write up really excellent feedback here. Our team fully supports the sentiment that accessibility is not just a concern for those with disabilities, and that efforts to improve accessibility make the game better for everyone. Posts like this do a great job of helping us gain insight into ways we can level up as developers. While I can't provide definitive answers on all of your points, I'd like to share some insight into how we think about the approach to these problems, as well as some things we've either already done or are considering that may help. So, collaborative randomness was the first subject line here. And again, they're talking about like the need for add-ons, designing boss fights around add-ons, like the way that add-ons basically are changing the game at the moment. Did you read what they are responding to? There's some really good points raised. No, I didn't. This is just straight up the blue post. And maybe I can go to the view the original here. We can see what they're responding to. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot here. Okay, so there's these three main posts. Let's see what this guy says. It's a post I've been working on for a while. Eon's interview with Anderson Gold, in which he stated certain weak auras and add-ons are viewed as problematic, has spurred me to finish it. I raid with Undaunted, the world's largest deaf guild. Oh, wow. That's crazy. A guild of deaf people. Whoa. Skywalker, let me know if you're in here so I can invite you. Wow, so they play the game completely without sound. It should go without saying that the raid without voice chat, yeah, right, which makes us more reliant than most on interface add-ons. Well, used to the fact that lack of voice chat means just about every boss encounter is going to be more difficult for us. There are certain designs that can prove to be almost insurmountable for us without the work of weak auras or add-on authors. Yeah, right, like without the voting, like they can't call out who has the Dreadlord wings. Right? And they get AOTC. Wow, Lil Miss is saying these people get AOTC. This deaf guild gets AOTC. That's props to them, man. Holy shit. That's crazy. How do they... Yeah, they would not be able to do Lords of Dread without an add-on. There's no way you can... the voting system is imperative for them. Because they can never tell each other who has the wings, right? They'll never be able to communicate it. Unless they're like video chatting and sign languaging or something. But again, that'd probably be very hard to do as well. The chief issue that I would like to highlight here is collaborative randomness and hiding visual data. Collaborative randomness refers to the mechanics that have random components which require coordination from random people in the raid. Almost all encounters these days have an element of randomness, at least one of their mechanics. Well, yeah, like I guess you could say collaborative randomness would kind of be like who gets assigned the purple circle, who gets assigned a slime, who gets assigned to drop portals for the portal runs. I mean, like the random assignments. Who gets assigned a shooting star on Anduin? Like these kinds of things are pretty random. But there are more than a few that have a single mechanic that involve multiple elements of randomness. Examples would include Fate Scribe. Oh my god, Fate Scribes looms of Fate. Jesus, this was I cannot imagine doing this as a group of deaf people playing. Oh my god. That'd be horrible. Looms of Fate was horrible. It was a pug raid killer. Hated Andy match with all those blind people, so it can be done right. Good point, Mag. High Tinker, Mekkatorque, Sparkbox, and Lady in Irva's Sin of the Suffering. Using Fate Scribe's Loom of Fates as an example, random players in the group must stand on randomly placed runes on the floor in order to move them into position and deactivate them. Depending on your raid size, there may be a third layer of randomness in which rings of the floor activate. In order to overcome the extreme randomness mechanic, we use a computational weak aura that reads a list of raiders. Yeah. Signs and runes affinity. Yeah, we use weak auras for this too. I mean, it would call out who was assigned to what, right? Very interesting. Contrary to what Ian's saying in the interview with Asmongold, computational weak auras and add-ons. Let me fast forward. This is our closeout song. We can't listen to this right now. Contrary to weak auras aren't a problem. They are the solution for inaccessible game design. Blizzard's commitment to customizability and WoW's UI is double-edged sword and makes the game one of the most accessible MMOs for deaf and players with other disabilities. This is crazy. I never really thought about this. Like, we use weak auras, you know, to give us an advantage. They use weak auras to be able to play. They legit can't play without them. Like, it's absolutely necessary for them. That's crazy. That doesn't mean you cannot design amazing, challenging boss encounters. Like Mythic Painsmith was lauded by top-end raiders as being Sanctum of Domination's best boss, and it was that tier's wall. Yet, it doesn't rely on oodles of randomness to generate that challenge. That's true. That's true. Mythic Painsmith was pretty straightforward. Like, there wasn't really randomness. The tanks always got the hammer. You knew how the spikes were going to go out. You knew how everything was going to kind of play out in that fight. It was just a matter of doing the mechanics properly or you die. Very interesting. Mythic N'Zoth is probably my favorite Mythic boss. It was incredibly challenging for Undaunted's raid team, but the fight was mostly linear from start to finish and relied on a perfect execution by all 20 raiders. Correct. Hiding visual data. Mechanics that don't show all the necessary data to overcome said mechanics are frustrating to deal with. Yes. That's what I was saying. Like, Lords of Dread, right? There's the Find the Demon mechanic. Blizzard should provide an in-game voting system or some way to communicate in the game, right? The game should never rely on being in a voice chat or a Twitch stream or anything else to get past the mechanic. There should be a instant communication. When that mechanic goes live, there should be like a pop-up on your screen that allows the raid to communicate instantly as to who the Dreadlords are. And the fact that that doesn't exist literally tells you that Blizzard is saying, alright, here's the mechanic, get your add-ons or get in voice chat or you're not going to be able to do it. It's crazy. To me, that's required in the game. Because what if you're just a flat-out PC noob, like you just don't know how to get an add-on? You can't do the fight then. Or you're going to get kicked from a raid for not having the right shit. Oh yeah, this. Pandora's box has been opened. Hard to put it back. Well, yeah, but you don't have to put it back. You don't have to get rid of add-ons. Just implement the shit in-game so the add-on isn't necessary. They're describing add-ons that everyone is using and linking their ability to succeed with the add-ons. Blizzard should make their fight mechanics more visually obvious and not assume admins will pick up the slack. Yep, exactly. Or add-ons will pick up the slack. Yes. Exactly. Day, and we have to vote. We have a vote button option too. It's called extra action button. They didn't use it. Yeah. Yeah. They being Blizzard. Exactly. I mean, Blizzard has all kinds of extra buttons that pop up on the screen. Like this UI exists. Right? This UI already exists because we have seen where like you're doing a quest and you get a button that pops up on your screen when you mount on something or when you get on a cannon or you know what I mean? Like that UI exists. Blizzard has a way of putting an extra button on your screen for a single mechanic. That's only temporary and then it goes away. Blizzard could have easily implemented some type of voting system or anything like that that could have gotten, gotten the raid through that mechanic. It's very easy. Lords of Dread could absolutely do it without communication, but only by most players, but not by most players. But the voting system needs to be communicated. You would either have to type it out, which is very unrealistic in the middle of a boss fight. You'd have to type it out in chat, or and you'd have to type multiple names. It'd be very hard to do. There needs to be some type of button to click. Type it in chat, but each person sees, each of the 5 people is going to see 2 Dreadlords, right? So what everyone's going to have to do is type out the people that they see. And then the raid is going to have to look at those names and see which name was typed out the most, and then start attacking that person. I don't even know if the fight allows enough time to do that. It'd be very hard to do. It'd be hard to do. You make a macro for it. Figure out who was correct. Yeah, you could make a macro for it, but again, why doesn't Blizzard just frickin' give you the button, let you vote? It's very easy. Very easy. Janessa, you can come as DPS for now. We have another tank, so come on in. Themepra, are you in the stream? Themepra? Well, anyways, let's continue through this. Mechanics that don't show all the necessary data to overcome. Yes, we know. Improving user interface tools. The primary barrier to raiders who cannot utilize voice chat is increasing complexity in counter designs that often leaves the second to communicate in order. Yeah, see, timing is an issue with communication. Final thoughts while I frame Yes. Great post. I love seeing improvements based on UI improvements without necessarily needing weak auras or other add-ons. I didn't know I needed this until you mentioned it. Yeah. He talks about a ping system. A ping system similar to the ones in Overwatch, Apex Legends, or League of Legends would also be extremely helpful to overcome communication barriers. Generic pings, like I'm going here, coupled with an arrow and a player's name, that would be great. I'm not gonna lie, like if there was like a quick hotkey, like for a tank to say, okay, I'm pulling the boss here, or I'm moving here, or DPS get over here, pings would be amazing in game. I would love pings in WoW. Now we have like the minimap pings, but who can quickly go to the minimap and click something? You know, like that's not realistic, and it doesn't show anything in game. It's just on the minimap. As you said, not only these solutions could benefit people with accessibility issues, they could be used by anyone, including people who aren't comfortable with voice, pugs, or even by regular raid groups that may prefer vanilla solutions rather than forcing people to use tweak add-ons. Yes. This man responded here saying, I would like to add that selecting the correct player is nearly impossible for me, considering on the average heroic raid, I'm with 25 people. I have severe issues even selecting the player to see the name of who has the Dreadlord appearance. Right. It's a hard mechanic to get over. It's hard because there's just like technical difficulties sometimes. One of the major problems I have at the moment is finding the right target. This is an issue in anything that shows more than, say, 8 nameplates. This is worsened by weeks in Mythic Plus with explosives and current affixes. In order for me as a melee to be able to see the nameplates and keep them on my screen, I need to have stacked nameplates. But even then, it kind of just clutches together in the same spot and starting to tripping out and teleporting all over my screen in vertical lines. That's an issue, man. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Like, the fact that the nameplates are fucking stacking everywhere, and that's important for this fight, that's a rough one. The WoW UI needs to have an accessibility overhaul in general, and I hope they take things into account with 10.0. We need a proper interface to deal with mechanics and dungeons on a raid that isn't one of the most extra that isn't another extra boss button. I can't even properly do Tazavesh music boss even without binding this extra button to my mouse, because I have to hold the RMB to aim my character, then push the button somewhere on the screen. I simply do not have the accuracy to properly do this and will cause pain to my arm. Just get good, bro. Get good. This honestly feeds into that whole that MMO players suck at aiming. Honestly, that's what it feeds into. We do suck at aiming. But yeah, I understand his point. Anyway, so back to the blue post that I originally started reading here. They were touching on the collaborative randomness, which we talked about a little bit. The bigger issue is that fights are tuned for high speed, high skill players using tools. Exactly. That last part is the important part here. We could do a combo of two things. Make the fight longer with more leeway, or have better in-game accessibility tools. I lean towards better in-game accessibility tools, personally. I think that's what's important, and that's what Blizzard really needs to focus on. Because I don't mind the mechanics, and I don't mind a hard fight or something that requires quickness, but Blizzard needs to give you the ability to do it. It shouldn't be required to have an add-on. So collective random. This is a term. It's a cool term, and I like it. But I want to expand a bit and talk a bit more of factors that we think about when determining if a mechanic is appropriate to ask players to do given the difficulty, such as how complex is the mechanic, how much affordance does the mechanic have, basically the function and how to clear it is, or how much time are you given to react, and then how severe is the punishment for failure. Basically, are you gonna get into it? Are you about to die because you don't match? And that's probably what they're talking about there. So to use Shadowland mechanics as examples. Smolderling Ire from Denathrius. Low complexity, high affordance. Outright ignoring it is an instant wipe, but failure is granular. If you only miss 20%, the damage will likely be survivable. Okay. Spiked Floor. Low complexity, medium affordance. Failure is binary. Die if you get hit. Yeah, that's how Spiked Floor works. But if it only affects one person, a few mistakes can be okay. Right. There's a difference between failure that wipes the raid and failure that just kills you, personally. Loom of Fates. Alright, that Fate Scribe. Alright, this is one that kills everybody. High complexity, high affordance. Failure is binary, instant raid wipe. Much like many of the Anduin mechanics. Right. Definitely something that, as a mechanic, that's in essence has to be done to kill the boss. If it's not, then the raid is done. It's over. The fact that the fight shipped expecting players to use add-ons means Blizzard is using those developers and authors as free labor and expecting them to finish the game for them. Yeah, I mean, there's also the fact that they just know people are going to download add-ons, so if they make a certain mechanic too easy with an add-on, then it's pointless to them. So they're not just working with the add-on developers or using them, they're also working against the add-on developers because they're trying to design fights that aren't just easily, like, you can't just get around them with an add-on, right? That's also a problem they're dealing with. It's not just working with them, it's working against them because they're trying to make fights hard enough that even if you have this add-on, which they are sure is going to be created, that it's not just making the fight or a mechanic instantly easy. Fate Scribe was also bad design. The latency problems with the runes are real. Oh my god. Sometimes people would get in the perfect spot for Fate Scribe rune running, and it would just completely still fuck up. Like, it would just be jagged. It wouldn't run in the right direction. You'd have to get in the perfect spot. Yeah, I agree. There were a lot of mechanical in-game errors with Fate Scribe that would cause lots of players to die. Lots of players that live without DBM, even on fights that can be done without it. Yeah. Those were some legit rough fights, waiting for the rune to be recognized, and then you start moving. Yeah, it was horrible. Note that if this... a Warlock. I just want to know, is the Pra in here? You've been in queue for a while. Note that this is simplifying a bit and doesn't account for what else is competing for your attention while the mechanic is happening, but it is a useful model to help evaluate the impact of a mechanic has on a fight. I am Emperor. Okay. I felt like I asked that. Maybe I missed you messaging. When it comes to Luma Fates, I wonder if you'd feel less like an add-on was required if one or both of the following were true. Fewer things competing for your attention. Well, we all know Looms of Fate comes up and then 2 ads come up. And we got to DPS the ads down while they're doing the Looms of Fate. So there's definitely a lot competing for your attention. Or more granular penalty for failure. A single mistake resulted in survivable with all your raid cooldowns, level of damage, as opposed to an instant wipe. Well, yeah, I mean, we'd care less about the mechanic if it wasn't an instant wipe. Right? Hey, Kitty Demon, welcome to stream and welcome to raid, man. There's also ultimately what we're getting at here is that high complexity is a design space that allows us to do some pretty cool and thematic stuff, and I'd like to find ways to use for us to continue doing things in this space while keeping them accessible. To be clear, we make high complexity mechanics not because we feel pressured to keep up with add-ons, but because doing so allows us to create unique bosses. Yeah, I mean, high complexity moments in a boss fight are fine. You know, they require... I don't think requiring communication is a bad thing. Requiring communication and an add-on is a bad thing. Right? Now, I understand for the Deaf Guild, add-ons are probably more necessary because communication isn't a possibility. What I really dislike is, like I said, something that could have been added in-game by Blizzard, such as the voting mechanic. Easily pop up a button, vote, do the thing. That could be easily put into the game. Instead, they made that whole mechanic knowing that an add-on was going to be developed to get us over it. Hiding visual information. Sparkbox on Mekkatorque were a lesson for us on the experiences of players who don't have the option of using voice chat. Yeah, not everyone can get into voice chat. Not everyone can join a beautiful, wonderful morning stream, right, to do their pug raids. Not everyone has that option. Now, of course, everyone can join my stream. It's welcome. But not every pug has a stream with a handsome man on your screen every morning. That's just not possible. So without having a voice chat, how do you get through mechanics that really require them? Since then, anytime we make a mechanic with a hidden information or other puzzle elements that require players to communicate on the fly, one of our requirements is to confirm through playtesting that it can be reasonably completed without using add-ons or voice chat. Really? Blizzard honestly thinks that the whole demon phase here that we Dreadlord phase, that we have enough time to communicate it out without an add-on or voice chat? I beg to differ. I think there's no way that mechanic gets done in time without voice chat or voting. With voice chat and voting, we don't get it done on time sometimes. Let alone take away one of those or both of them? Oh, shit. It's impossible. I don't know how they say that it can be done without them. I like the mechanic if there was less of a time limit or less of a raid wipe if you mess up. Yeah, Lil Miss. I mean, that's what they're talking about. Like, maybe making a mechanic less punishing makes it more fun. But there is a sense of urgency when a mechanic is punishing, and it's kind of adds some lore to it. So I mean, that is good too. That would be more workable for sure. People in Final Fantasy look like they're all prematurely born. Literally? What? You're talking about the looks of the game? Day says, and WoW looks like Goofy Tunes. Shrug. You guys talking about the looks of the two games? Oh, muscle. Okay. You guys are talking about something completely different in chat. We type it in our guild, but yeah, it's too close. Yeah, to type it out is really hard to do. Rift looks like a depressing game. I would agree with those statements. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to think that we could do this without voice chat or without chat, or without voice chat, without an add-on. Both. That's crazy. We still have room to improve here and hope to continue learning from applying feedback like this as we make new bosses in the future. Even if we can't achieve complete parity, I think it's totally fair to ask for designs to be considerate of players who can't use voice and to provide reasonable in-game tools to bridge that gap. This, of course, brings us to user interface improvements. Definitely something that's needed in-game. Definitely something that should change from boss to boss. If there's a boss mechanic, there should be interface in the game that helps you get over it. Add-ons should not be necessary. Again, the fact that Blizzard already has quests and things in game that pop up a button on your screen, right? That already happens. That mechanic and that code is already in the game. It could have easily been done by them. And it's been done in boss fights even. I mean, like, take freaking ICC. You have the pirate ship, the airships battle, right? We get on the cannon. What happens when you get on the cannon? An interface pops up. You use it for that single boss mechanic. That could easily be done in a voting sense like this. When the mechanic starts, an interface will pop up for everybody. You click, you vote, and you kill. That's it. In-game communication tools. This is what they say about this. In-game communication tools are a big opportunity for improvement, and there's been a lot of discussion on the team around the topic of how our interface can be used to enhance communication. The interface updates coming in 10.0 are largely focused on improving how the game provides information to players, but we agree that in the future, something like a ping system would be great for enhancing communication and would be very much worth exploring. Thank you again for sharing your thoughts and helping us to make our game more accessible for everyone. Well, they're trying, I will say that. Based on this post and everyone's feedback, it looks like this is a new age of Blizzard / World of Warcraft dev team where they do seem to be listening. Right? There was a time when Blizzard would say, you think you do, but you don't. Right? They would take player feedback and basically crumple it up and throw it out and say, these guys don't know what they're fucking talking about. It looks like they're taking a new stance, as far as that situation goes, where they're really starting to listen to what players say. And I'm still shook by the fact that there is an entirely deaf guild that's getting AOTC. Props to them, man. That's amazing. That's amazing. I want to meet the raiders that can do lords without voice or add-ons. Yeah, I know. Same. Morzo, the fact that Dungeon Journal does not accurately represent the fights half the time. Oh my god, Lil Miss. Yes, I've tried to figure out mechanics on the Dungeon Journal. It's impossible. You got to go to YouTube. You got to go to YouTube to learn to fight. Dungeon Journal is completely and utterly freaking stupid, honestly. Alright, I'm just going to start inviting people because we want to fill up this raid. Let's get this shit started. Look at KT from Sanctum. Yeah, the Dungeon Journal for KT probably doesn't do shit for you. Well, that's the other thing. That quest feature was an add-on first. They don't figure it out on their own. Right, I mean, I don't mind them not figuring it out on their own as long as they get it implemented eventually. Like Quest Helper and things like that. Those were all add-ons, right? Before that, we had Thoughtbot and shit. So those things where, we'd go look up quests, and then Quest Helper came in, and then finally they added in it themselves. That's at least they learned. Just like eye level by a gear score. An IO score. Yep, IO score. Yep, exactly. Now, CS, people will slowly figure out that while Blizzard is a big company with lots of money, they don't have the best minds. Yes, this is true. They don't play enough for the work. They don't pay enough for the work. I've heard about salary issues. And you know why I think that's about to get fixed? Microsoft. Microsoft don't mind paying for the best talent in the world. They will pay up for the best talent in the world. They've always been that way. Well, I won't say they've always been that way, because they had a monopoly on the market for quite a while. But with they're competing against the likes of Apple, Google, and now Sony and gaming as well. With Xbox and stuff like that, and they are willing to pay for the best talent. So I think that's going to change. And I've said it before. I think Microsoft buying Blizzard was a great thing for World of Warcraft. I think it's going to be a great thing for the game and a great thing for the company. Even then, YouTube doesn't cover everything. That's true. It's true. That's because they can farm out the fixes to add-on authors. Yeah, I mean, they can farm it out to add-on the fixes to add-on authors, but like I said, at the same time, they're also fighting against the add-on authors because they're trying to make fights that'll be hard and competitive, and knowing that add-ons are going to be developed to overcome some of the mechanics they're creating. Like there have been literal prog fights where we read the journal, check all the guides and YouTubes, everything, still don't understand the mechanics until we go in there and wipe 20 times and see it. Yeah, it's true. We've done it here on stream, right? We've done it here on stream. Sometimes wiping is the only way to learn, which is sad at times. Just called, should just be called loot journal. That's the only time I open it up to see the loot drops. So yep, same. I do the same thing. The only time I ever open up this journal is to see, oh yeah, okay, we're on Lords of Dread. What do I want? I want this fucking trinket so badly. I want it badly. And that's really the only time I'm opening this journal up. I never use it for bosses. Hey, Empty, how's it going, man? It's going good. It's going good. Welcome to the stream. We are filling up Raid right now. We were just discussing some WoW news. We are currently filling up Raid, preparing ourselves to down the Dreadlords before reset. Microsoft wasn't always like that, LOL. Yeah, it took some fighting. Yeah, I agree, Day. I agree. Yeah, I misspoke when I first said they've always been that way, and right away I retracted. I was like, actually, they kind of got pushed into being that way through the competition that currently exists in their industry. I was a systems engineer. Oh, nice. With Microsoft back in 2010, and Blizzard paid $30,000 less per year for the same job and more hours. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Not to mention, if you're working for Blizzard, you probably live in California. Cost of living out there is fucking insane as compared to if you're working for Microsoft. Where would you be? Like in, what was it, Washington? Right? Or Seattle? For Amazon? Like, you know, cost of living is much less in those places. Living in California sucks, yeah. Cost of living for sure sucks in California. I don't live in California, thankfully. But I would like to visit. I mean, I've gone there once before. It's nice. Quite literally, I'd rather go back to the military. Oh, Jesus. Problem that is, it is financially worth it for them to pay for the best. Is it financially worth it for them to pay the best? With subs falling off, they need to revitalize the entire game and make it subscribable again for millions of people. Day, trust me, Microsoft is looking at the state of World of Warcraft, and anybody who thinks, I heard people talking shit like, oh, they just bought it for Call of Duty. They only bought Blizzard Activision for Call of Duty. Nobody cares about WoW. It's dead game Andes. You know, all the dead game Andes come a dead game. Nobody cares. They bought it for COD only. They're fucking tripping. Okay? They're tripping. Microsoft cares a lot about World of Warcraft and the state of this game. Right? Amazon is an MMOs. Google surely is an MMOs. I mean, I don't know exactly which game, but they run all MMOs off their servers too. PlayStation, right, with Sony, you got Final Fantasy Online. They're an MMOs. You got to realize Microsoft wants to be in the MMO game as well. It's very profitable, especially when the game is doing really well. So Microsoft is totally analyzing the state of World of Warcraft. They're looking at the game hardcore, and they're looking at how to make the game better. I promise you that. World of Warcraft was a major part of that, what was it, $60 billion or whatever that they paid to buy Blizzard Activision. Very fair, and honestly, I feel like we should have ended things with Wrath or Legion on a high note. Yeah, fire up another game with another engine. Yeah, maybe. You're saying like a WoW 2? I kind of wish they had done that as well. The babes are hot, though. Yeah, it's true. Final Fantasy chicks are hotter. I will give Final Fantasy people that. And I mean in-game chicks. I still think the hotter chicks actually play World of Warcraft. How about that? Real girls play World of Warcraft. I think a lot of the cattier girls in Final Fantasy are just guys. Yeah, I went back to the south. And can't handle Cali's costs. Yep. Yep. I grew up in Florida until I was 14, then we moved to Michigan. So I'm like East Coast all my life. Even though, I mean, Michigan's technically Midwest, we're East Coast time. I've never lived on that side of the country. Visited, but never lived. And I prefer this side of the country. I got maybe just got used to it, but if you can get people to pay for a sub for a game when gacha games and free to play are already normal, it's worth looking at. Yeah, exactly. Nice save, Sam. No, I mean, Cali chicks are hot. The girls in Final Fantasy look prematurely born. Cali chicks are hot, yeah. Yeah, or, you know, I'm sure they are. I mean, California girls, right? Katy Perry sang about it. It's a good time. A lot of plastic surgery out there, though, I think. I honestly wouldn't care if they switch the engines or whatever. I've been subbed since 2003. Probably will be until the game finally dies. I'm hooked. I love the lore in the game and the universe. Today I always talk about it. WoW's crack for me. I'll be subbed even if they're just making me fucking do the stupidest shit ever. I don't know why I stay subbed to this game. I've been subbed forever. It's just how it is. Do I prefer the game to be good? Yeah. Hell yeah. I'd rather be subbed to a game that I enjoy playing. Of course. Okay, we're probably just going to go ahead and get our first pull in. Yep. Where there are no real girls on the internet, we're all 12-year-old boys and the FBI agents. Yeah, I'm a 12-year-old boy, definitely. Why don't you have a seat? Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. This is John Hanson from, what's it called? Why don't you have a seat? Yes. WoW is crack. Good, wholesome crack. Exactly. Good morning. What's up? Good morning. I love tacos. Alright, guys. We're going to get ready to pull here. I'm about to do a ready check. We're going to drop this. Great conversation. We'll see. As far as add-ons go, though, let's make sure everyone has these weak auras. Okay, I'm going to pull this shit up. What's it called? Among Us, right? Here it is. We're going to raid. Hold on, I got to /raid first. Damn it. If you guys can link the weak auras too, that'd be awesome. Though, especially the one for DPS to run away. I can't forget. I remember what that was. Gotta make sure we vote.